We get more than our share of letters from people who live with terrible water pressure in their house.
Good morning, Richard.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
All right, so terrible water pressure, what do we do about it?
Well, today I'm going to install a water pressure booster.
All right, well, I'll be sure to scratch boosting water pressure off of our to-do list. Well, good morning. I'm Kevin O'Connor, and welcome back to Ask This Old House, where if you've got a problem, we have an expert who we can send out to your house, whether it's down in the basement or out in the front yard. Good morning, Roger.
Good morning, Kev.
So we've got an issue with rhododendrons?
Kevin, you have to remember that people love rhododendrons. They're absolutely spectacular when they're in bloom. So if they're doing work around the house and the choice is to cut the rhododendron down or move it, they're going to move it every time.
But didn't we show some homeowners how to move a rhododendron a few years ago?
We did. That was a pretty good-sized rhododendron. We dug it by hand, dragged it up onto a blue top, and then dragged it all the way over to its new home.
More like wrestled it to its new home.
Right. And the rhododendron we worked on recently was even bigger than that one. That's why we brought in the heavy artillery. Today we're working with some homeowners who want to make some changes to the front of their house, but they've got some things in the way. Hi, Marianne. Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Roger.
So tell me about your plans.
Well, I'm a carpenter, and I'd like to put a nice wooden set of stairs in the front of this house.
Oh, you're going to build them yourself?
Yes.
Wow. That's really going to open up the front, but it means getting rid of this rhododendron.
We don't want to get rid of the rhododendron. We just want to move it. That's why I wrote you. We want to move the rhododendron.
Well, the best time to move a plant is when it's dormant. So we have to look at the buds. See here how tight they are? They have not leafed out yet this year, so the plant's still dormant.
So it's still okay to move this then?
A good time to move it. Yep, it'll do very well. But when I move a plant this big, I need a lot of room to work.
Okay.
I think I can squeeze around the crabapple without bothering that too much.
Well, I hope you can, because we love this tree.
But this yew over here, there's no way I can work around this. I got to get in underneath that rhododendron to dig it, and this is in the way.
There's no way to save that.
No.
Okay. It should go.
It's got to go, and it all starts with the heavy equipment.
Okay.
All right, Kyle, that's nice and loose. Will you take that chain? Gonna wrap around the main stem, okay? Go all the way around it. That's it. Sneak it through. Pull it out. Go all the way around again a second time. That way, when we tighten on the chain, it's gonna bind right on that trunk. Bring it right around. Now hook on the free end. That's it. Now bring it out to my bucket. Hook it on. And hop out of the way. Now we have to think about where we're going to put your rhododendron.
Okay. I was thinking of putting it here because you can see it from the house when you come out.
Well, it's got a nice background with these cedars here that are going to give the rhododendron a half a day of sun, and that's what they love. So, yeah, this will be a good place.
Great.
So I'm going to come in with a bobcat and dig a big hole, push the dirt to the side. That way we can just pick up the rhododendron and slide it right into the hole.
Okay.
How deep is that, Roger?
Well, Kyle, right now it's about 12 inches deep. I expect that root ball to be shallow, 12 to 16 inches deep. When we get it out of the ground, we'll measure it and adjust the hole if we have to.
Is this deep enough?
The worst thing you can do is plant the rhododendron too deep.
Okay.
So let's leave it like this, and let's go dig the rhododendron and see what it comes out at.
All right.
This is the main trunk of the rhododendron. We're going to take and go around and dig a 5-foot diameter root ball all the way around it.
Okay.
The first thing we have to do is get some of these branches out of the way. So I'm just going to take and dig them up. We're going to use the same piece of equipment to move the rhododendron that we use to pull the yew out. But it starts with hand digging a root ball, 5-foot diameter, around the main trunk.
I think we're clear over here.
I'm down about 8 or 10 inches, and all I'm finding is some roots in the top 6 inches.
Well, maybe it'll be easy to move, Roger.
We'll see. Now we're going to take this transplanting shovel with this long steel blade and drive it underneath the ball to cut any roots that might be left there. All right, pull that rope around, find a place, tie it off. I just want to secure these branches so we don't break them when we're moving the tree. Kyle, I use these plastic mats to keep the lawn from getting compacted, but it also protects the edge of the driveway where it meets the lawn so it doesn't break. Now, I've put forks on the front of the track machine, 4 forks that are going to slide right underneath our root ball and lift it out of the ground. Rhododendrons love soil that's rich in humus, so we're going to take this sandy gravel soil we have in the bottom of the hole and amend it with compost. Want to bring that in, Kyle? Dump it right in the middle of the hole first. Great, just let it go. Then give us another one. And just spread it out, and then start turning it in. It looks better. Let's just level it off, and we'll be ready to set the rhododendron. What we want to do is spin this so that the best side is towards the house. You tell me when you think it's good. Keep going,
Okay.
Kyle.
That looks good, Roger.
That looks good?
Yeah.
All right. Kyle, you want to bring that in? We'll dump it right there. All right, now once he dumps it, I'm going to take and add some starter fertilizer. This will give the plant a little nutrition and some superphosphate to help the roots grow. Now, we're just going to mix it together with the soil and throw it around the root ball. Well, let's welcome your rhododendron to its new home.
Oh, it really looks good, Roger.
Pour that water right to it. I want you to keep it watered all summer long.
Okay.
Long, slow waterings, okay?
Roger, the rhododendron looks great here. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Roger.
You're welcome. Guys, I don't want to give it away, so I'm going to keep it simple. It's black, it's firm, yet soft, and on the bottom is a steel ring. What is it?
That did not give it away.
No?
I know what it is.
You got this.
You all know where you get wool, right?
Yeah, lamb, isn't it?
Sure.
Or what about steel wool?
Aisle 6 at the supermarket.
No. A steel lamb.
What?
This is a flank shank cut off of a steel lamb, and this is steel wool in the raw.
Idiot. That's your guess.
That's a proven fact.
Tom,
I got
that's
this.
bad.
No.
That was even worse. Now, I don't know if you guys have been following what's been going on in the street, but we have got a huge merger underway.
I saw it in the journal.
Did you catch that?
Absolutely.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Turns out that Chia Pet and Pet Rock coming together.
No way.
Synergies are eating it up. And you know why? Because of this.
What?
The Chia Rock. Oh, yeah, this is going to blow the market away. This is what it started like. Just about an hour ago, I added water. Thing's still growing. Absolutely.
That's it again?
Oh, it's a category killer.
No.
Sad.
I tell you, I use this as a loofah sponge, and it's really handy. Sometimes I come home from work, no one's around.
Again.
My wife's away, the kids are at school, housekeeping's not due till Friday, and I need to exfoliate now.
Oh.
What do? Throw that in the bathtub, a little bit of water on it, take your shirt off,
No.
and you just get right down the back of this thing. And you just wriggle around a little bit. Oh, it just feels so good. And look what it does. I mean, it's so supple. Just feel that.
I'm not touching
Just,
you.
It is the super loofah. I submit to you.
I submit I'm not going to touch it. This is actually a floating island for a pond. Now, it can either float around freely, or you could take an anchor it to the bottom using this in a cape.
Because I need a floating island.
No, but you need a planting island. What you do is you take a plant, and you can take a whole bunch of them and put them in here, take it out of its container, take the soil off the roots, use a special mix in the bottom, and you just drop it in. It's going to be pretty, but the other thing is that these roots will take nitrogen out of the pond and help it be cleaner because the algae won't bloom.
I like
you can also take a piece of sod, wash it off, and then lay it right on the top after you put the soil in, and you have a floating island for waterfowl to come and nest in.
Tough to get the lawnmower out there, isn't it?
I try it once a week.
You can go to the pond and loofah.
Not in my pond, he's not.
So here's why we wrote you. A couple of months ago when we moved in, we found that we had really low water pressure, and so low that when my first time taking a shower and I washed my hair, I couldn't rinse the soap out. I had a hard time getting the water to penetrate my
You
hair.
have entirely too much hair.
I know, Richard, I know. Jealousy will get you nowhere.
Another problem that we had was, is the dishwasher, and the soap dispenser just doesn't clear out because the pressure is
Just
so
not enough
low.
water pressure.
Yeah.
All right, a lot of times the problem is that the water main is old and it might be corroded, and so it's galvanized steel and you have to replace it.
So now in our case, we had the town come out and take a look at the line. We also had them test the pressure. We found two things. The first is that we do actually have a 3/4 inch copper main, which
Perfect.
they told us is regular.
That's great.
Then we had them check the pressure, and we actually found that we only have about 35 PSI at our house.
It's a little bit low.
Yeah.
So that's coming from the town. All right, well, I think I have just a solution for you.
Okay, great.
All right, down here at the corner of the basement is where your water main comes in from the street. You're right, it's 3/4 copper. And here's the main shutoff valve. Very important to know where that is in case water's coming through the ceiling. You turn it off. Next is the water meter. And you'll see there's a ground wire right here for the electrical system in the house. And it continues 3/4 up into the building.
And then up here we have our second water shutoff.
Those are good to have. In a pinch, there's a ball valve. You can turn that off. Now, what we're going to do today is to boost this water pressure from 35 pounds pressure up to about 50. And this is a pressure booster system. It has a pump on the top. Water will come in right here, and the pump will come on. And then when it does, it's going to push that water down into a tank that's half filled with water, half filled with air with a diaphragm between it. It'll now leave a reservoir of 50-pound pressure water ready to go. So when you open the faucet, it comes right on.
Fantastic.
There's a sensor right here that'll make this come on and off whenever you need it. So it starts by turning off the water. Good. Gary, with the pliers, just crack that water meter nut.
Okay.
There's going to be a little pressure there on the... It might squirt out you a little bit. Good. That means the shutoff held. So now we've got to run the copper line from the main to this inlet to the pump. Now the center of that is about 36 3/8 above the floor. So I've transferred that mark onto the pipe. But that's not where we cut, because we're going to cut in this 90-degree elbow fitting. So that's the center, and just allow for the fitting.
Okay.
Right there is where you cut.
Okay.
Now tighten that cutter up and just be very careful on that first revolution. You want to get the track to line up. You see the mark you're making? Keep coming.
Okay.
Tighten it up a little bit more. Go.
Okay.
Looks good. You're right in the same track. Yep. Tighten up. And just stop for 1 second. Just pull that out.
Okay.
I'm just going to clean this pipe. It's always easy to do it before the pipe is cut. I need to cut another piece out right here. So this will be where the elbow from the pump cuts in.
Okay, so that's where you tie back into the water main in the house.
All right, grab your cutter and just cut right here.
How's that look?
You're getting to be a pro now. Snug it up. Good.
Okay.
Is our space. All right, Gary, that's all dry fit. Let's just review what we've done so far. Here's the line that comes in from the street with our 35 psi water pressure. What I thought we'd do is actually put a pressure gauge right here to see what's coming in from the street. Now the water's going to run through this valve right here. It's called a check valve, designed to only let the water go this way and not this way. That's important. When that pressure system's on, you don't want that higher pressure being able to go back down the main into the street.
Okay, so then the high pressure water is going to come out of the pump here up this line into the house.
That's right. And what I thought we'd do is have one more gauge right here to see what you're getting upstairs. Now it's time to take this all apart, to clean it, to flux it, and to solder it all together. Good? So what's the secret to a good solder joint? Well, you apply the heat to one side and wait for it to bubble, the flux, and then just touch the solder. And then once there's enough heat, pull the torch away. A lot of people leave the torch on too long. All right, so that's it for the plumbing connection, but we still need electricity. So I called a local electrician, Brian Bergeron. Hey, Brian.
This manufacturer on this pump recommends a dedicated circuit, and we're in luck that the panel board is right there.
Perfect.
Yeah, right there, right next to us. So what I'm going to use is armored cable, which is
Sure.
MC, metal-clad cable.
Yep.
It is basically our conductors inside, and we're going to end up using that. So what we'll do here is we're going to strip it, and to do that, we take this tool, we stick the armored cable inside, and it sits on a pivot point inside there. We tighten it down just enough to get some
Right in
tension.
that groove.
Squeeze it down, and then there's a hacksaw blade underneath that will cut right across
Makes a little incision.
the two grooves. And then we take it out, and you can see the incision right there, and we just twist it and untwist it, and then slide this piece right off. And then there's a plastic casing that's still in line, and we know that we haven't cut the conductors inside there. So then what we'd use is an anti-short bushing, and what this does is it's slit on one side so we can slide it in, and then we take the full side and slide it down against the metal casing so we don't have any nicks that will
So the
cut
sharp
anything.
edge doesn't touch the wire.
Exactly. What we do is we slide this off very slowly so that we don't nick anything. We unwind the plastic, and at this point here, you just pull it back and give it a little tension, and then you take your tools and either a knife or a pair of pliers, and you cut the plastic off. And that takes the plastic out of the way, but it's still protecting the armored cable. Now, at this point, we put the armored cable connector on, we slide it over the top, and we hold it and pinch it right over the grooves. And tighten the screws down evenly on each side so that it clamps the armored part of the cable and stays in place. Tighten down one side, then we start with the other side, just to get it down.
Good. There's one end.
And that's one end, and we put this end, I'm going to use this end into the pump itself. We slide the wire in and push the connector flush up against the housing, and take a lock nut, which will hold it in place. But you try and thread the connector on without cross-threading it. All right, we have 3 wires coming into the motor now. We have a black wire, which is bringing the power in, a white wire, which is the neutral, and a green wire, which is the ground. We're going to start with the green wire, connecting it to the green screw at the bottom. That will be the ground. So to do that, we have to shorten the wire a little bit, and then we're going to strip back as much as we can without, it's very tight, to get the wire exposed. You want to put a loop on the wire so it will go around the green screw, and then you want to push it down and fold it out of the way onto the green screw. Now we tighten the screw down, and that will make the ground for the motor to the panel. Now we just connect the neutral and the hot, and the motor will be wired. We're going to run the armored cable from the pump to the panel, and we're going to support every 4.5 feet along the foundation wall. All right, before we bring the wire into the panel, what we're going to want to do is shut the main breaker off so we have no power.
Good idea.
All right? And now we take the cover. Thank you. We're going to work right here, and we're going to install a breaker that's made by the same manufacturer as the panel so it doesn't overheat. And then we're going to take the wire and pull it right up and mark which one of these knockout seals we can take out to bring the wire in. And we just knock out by pushing up and take out the seal, and then we run the wire up through the hole that we just created. Measure that off. All right, we cut the cable like we did before. And this, we just twist, and we pull the armored part off. Measure it one more time. Put the anti-short bushing in, making sure that it fits. Now put the connector on. Slide it right through. Slide that down. Pinch it and clamp it evenly. And cut the little bit of plastic that's left off. We're going to run the cable right up through the hole we created. We're going to slide the white and green wire on the ground neutral bar in the panel and tighten down the set screws so they stay in place. And you take the black wire and slide it under the breaker. And now that we have the panel cover on, I'm going to turn the main breaker on.
All right. I've also turned the water back on. You can see down here at this lower pipe, they added the pressure gauge. You can see coming in from the street, we have 35 PSI. That's what you've always had. But we've also got the gauge that's going to show what the outlet of the pump is going to give us in pressure. And that's still set at 35 right now, but we haven't turned it on yet. The gauge is factory set for 60 PSI. Brian, why don't you turn that breaker on? It'll take a few seconds to get warmed up, and then the pump should come on. And what happens is the pump will now be pumping water down against this diaphragm and starting to build up the pressure, build up the pressure. You start seeing it go up here. Yep, here we are. We're 40, 45 PSI on our way to 50. And it should shut off at 60 PSI. All right. Hey, Brian, great job. And Gary, you're going to have some great showers.
Thanks, guys.
Richard, great fix.
Well, in this case it was, but if this house had a clogged water main coming in from the street, adding a pressure booster wouldn't have done anything. It just would have burnt the pump out.
All right, but he didn't have a clogged pipe, so what do you think the problem was with his water pressure?
Well, it turns out it's where that house is in relation to the town's water supply tank. There's a big tank, might sit 80 or 100 feet off the ground, and the height of that tank determines the water pressure that's sent to the entire town's distribution system. This house was actually on a hill. Not much difference between the tank and the house.
So the more difference, the more pressure?
Absolutely.
Huh.
Well, that makes sense, but really, what else could happen?
Well, it could be the size or condition of the water distribution piping underneath the streets. It could be undersized or clogged. It also could be where you are in town. If you're on the edge of town, you're getting the lowest pressure in
The
town.
last guy gets the least amount of pressure.
That's right.
All right, guys, some good lessons. Thank you. And until next time, I'm Kevin O'Connor.
I'm Richard Stewart.
I'm Roger Cook.
And I'm Tom Silva.
For Ask This Old House. So how much water pressure do you need to wash your hair?
Oh.
I'm sorry. It was just sitting there.
If you have a question about your house or a home improvement tip you'd like to share, please let us know. Visit our website at pbs.org for expert advice, step-by-step videos, and much more. Next time on Ask This Old House, Roger shows the perfect path to a new walkway.
Right back to a whole piece again.
Looks great.
And Richard clears the air on filters.
You can see through this filter. It's not working. Just don't do it.
That's next time